That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
The articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Terrible! Bad! Not bad! Oh, pretty good. Okay, decent, fair, great. I loved it.
This sucks.
Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card, a show where we don't do narratives and we don't do talking points. We leave that to the mainstream media. They take care of that for us. We're just here to talk with you, the individuals out there who love the game and enjoy talking about United States men's soccer and other things soccer and some other stuff. But hey, I just wanted to start out with that so everybody knows what they're getting into tonight. No narratives here. We just don't do that. The turd in the back.
Do I look like a guy with a plan?
You think we got a script for the show? I mean, seriously. I write out all the fucks for my show and my script.
Fuck that fucking fucker.
Nate,
I must have briefed. Line. Start again, guys.
Yeah. Nate Jakwa, he fucking sucked, but he scored 5 goals in 13 games in the Austrian Bundesliga back in the, I don't know, it was early 2000s.
Throwback to last show.
Yeah, that was the guy I couldn't remember. Nate Jakwa, who went to Austria.
God, I haven't heard Nate. I haven't thought about Nate since he left fire.
Yeah, I mean, he only played the last handful of games of the season, but scored goals. And if he would have played 26 games that season, he probably would have scored, well, based on the math, 10 goals that season. That's pretty good for a guy who just showed up at the Austrian Bundesliga. And he didn't play for a good team either. He played for Alltag. It's not a good team. All right, the turd in the background says, oh, my brother's texting me. He doesn't say that, sorry. The turd in the background says, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Gregg is heading to Deutschland. Will he speak to the guy everyone wants him to speak to? Obviously, I'm talking about Terrence Boyd.
I was going for Brooks, but
my wife got bukakied by 20 old men.
You were about to say 20-year-old, weren't you?
I was. By 20-year-old men, I guess that would be like pretty bad too.
You gotta hand her, man. She does not have a preference there, does she? Well, no, I guess besides the turd.
Right. Poor Michael Cameron's getting none. No action. That's okay, man. I'm sure it'll come around. Oh, yeah. That's not what I really meant to say. You turds. Yes. If you're here.
Bulking up with all that protein, right?
Right. Good for health. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma or your stepsister. We don't really, we have no complaints either way. So do what you can do. I'm a hemorrhoid. Yes, there's medicine for that. I'm a hemorrhoid. 40 Yanks in Germany. Derek reminiscing about the time he lived there and accidentally took Viagra instead of sleeping tablets and had 40 wanks. Well, here's the thing about the pills, right? As I understand it, they make you last longer. So I'm not sure 40 wanks would have done it based on what I've read. So 40 yanks. Wow, Pete has more endurance now. You know the funniest thing? When Pete first started his show, I think I made a joke about that to him. And yeah, he chuckled about it. That's like almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
God, it seems like it's forever. What the fuck?
I feel like they're kind of leaning into it when they do a podcast called Tactical Yanks. I mean, come on.
Tactical Yanks. That's knowing what you're doing when you're yanking it.
I'm an expert.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely, at my age, an expert. Anyhow, you all should be experts at yourself. I think that's one of those things that's always a good fallback when other things in life just don't go your way. Right? Right. All right. So, by the way, I did want to mention to the guy who's like mentioned on the Twitters, like, well, Hearts, man, Harks came back to MLS and he's tearing shit up, but he couldn't score those goals in Scotland. He had a much different role in Scotland. Let me explain real quick. Ian Harks went to go play in the second division at first for Dundee United. They did get up to the first division. The team he played for was not very good. He didn't have a lot of opportunities to score because he was busy playing defense most of the time. And he played a lot of defense in the central midfield of the middle of the field. So now he's on a team and he scored a couple goals and people are shooting jizz left and right or using it as a comparison as to how easy MLS is compared to Scotland. Those aren't comparable things. We got to stop comparing things that aren't comparable. And in that case, Harks is on a team that is much more competitive in MLS, so he's going to get more opportunities to shoot. He didn't get those opportunities in Scotland. He played on a shitty.
You saying Dundee it was Dundee, right?
Dundee United, and I say that
they're not a
because
competitive team.
They weren't while he was there most of the time. No,
we're gonna have all 6 Dundee fans getting pissed off at us now.
Well, you can't say Dundee because there is a team named Dundee as well, FC. So there's Dundee, then there's Dundee United. Like, how united is Dundee United if there's another team in the city named Dundee? It's not very united at all.
Who came together to form United there? I mean,
exactly. Okay. It's like Manchester, right? How united can Manchester really be if you got Man City? That's not united at all. Anyhow, I'm sure there's some historical reasons. Tonight's beer is my last of my 4-pack of the bourbon double quad made by Boulevard, 10% and up. Yeah, 12.2. 12.2. This beer does not fuck around. It gets right to business. That's why I like it. And it tastes fucking fabulous. Oh, and it's affordable. Helps you
fuck around.
Hey, but it's also affordable by Boulevard. They make a really great Belgian style double quad that's affordable for most people, I would say. So anyhow.
I think Derek is. David D says one of those beer companies is going to sponsor you guys. Well, I think Derek is actually creating a not a collage. What the fuck am I thinking of when you mesh all these videos together?
Oh, that's kind of a collage.
Maybe we'll do collage.
But a collage is static.
Yeah, no. I can't think of it. But basically, it's just going to be Derek holding a bunch of the beer, saying, "This is the beer of the night. This is the beer of the night," and then he's going to post it.
Well, I've done this one 4 times, so this is the 4th. What's that?
New bingo cards.
Oh, no bingo cards.
No, new bingo cards.
New.
A montage. Thank you, Farrell. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's time for a montage.
Do you need me to cover the screen?
Yes, I think the audience is actually tired of looking at you, Derek, so please.
Well, I would have been tired of that ages ago.
Let's see here. We got bingo, mother of farkers.
Gordon's Fisherman.
Here's 2. We already covered one of those there. I see it.
Even flow.
Derek drinking. 2 have been good, guys. 2's good.
There's even flow on there. 4. I was trying to give somebody a bonus.
I'm sure Derek Sings is on one of them.
Not even flow specifically?
I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know. Oh, hey, you're good, Derek. You're good, Derek.
I was watching ESPN the other night, and there's this gal on SportsCenter, and she's doing the women's NBA or whatever it's called. And instead of saying she got her pocket picked, she said, and here she gets her picket pocked. And I had to write it down because I've never heard that before. I mean, that's
a reason why you haven't heard that before, Derek.
She gets her picket pocked. No, that's not how it works. She got her pocket picked. Oh, well, you could tell it was kind of her first night as a host on ESPN's late night. Yeah, I think she's a little nervous. But also, what was the other thing I wanted to bring up? I'm watching darts again for the first time in ages. Oh. And some people are going to say, darts? Yeah, I love PDC. I love Phil Taylor, although he's retired now. going back all the way to the days of Eric Bristow when he's on BBC back in the late 90s. I think he retired around then because he had dartitis. And that's kind of like that. You remember when the second baseman from the Yankees, Knobloch, couldn't throw it from second to first from a ground ball? He lost.
Knob block.
He had a knob block, but he couldn't throw the ball to the first baseman. He had they call that in golf, they call it the yips. We call it the yips.
Yeah.
But in darts, it's called dartitis. Like he just simply couldn't.
Oh, I think you said
anymore.
darkitis. I was like, that's
No.
why I did a what?
Dartitis. Yeah, but these guys are amazing. I mean, what they can do, all these 180s, like that's 3 shots into the triple 20. I have my dartboard up now, and I've been playing for the last, I don't know, month or so. I'm enjoying it again for the first time in years. So it gives me something else to do besides the show and racing cars and watching soccer games and playing golf and drinking beer. What else do I do? Oh, jerking off. Okay. So those are all of it in order, basically. All right. What do we got tonight, Brett? Unless, do you have anything you want to bring up that's, 5-0. 5-0. 5-0.
Wait. We'll get there in a second. I want to bring up the super chat first from last show.
Oh, we missed you, Al.
Well, we were closing out. We had our outros going on, and he super chatted us.
And here's a good thing, right? So, as an example, like, I don't agree with Al that Saudi Arabia is building a fucking anything right now. But I respect Al's opinion to believe that and to voice his opinion, and I'm not going to give him any shit for it. I just think he's wrong. I think this is temporary. I don't think anybody's going to watch it. It's going to be like Live Golf. It exists, but nobody knows about it, and almost nobody watches it. And so I'm fine that he thinks they're building something, but it's going to be so fucking temporary. Those guys are going to be, those big players will be there for 1 or 2 seasons. And I guess they can keep just cycling it through, right? And having 2 or 3 good, excellent players on each team. But I mean, do you really want to watch that? I went through
that many millions of dollars. Yeah, they could cycle them through.
I mean, they're going to keep cycling them, but I don't think it makes their league entertaining.
Well, did you see?
I'm not watching it.
They posted their what they're wanting to build a 3rd division in Saudi Arabia, and they're talking about wanting to get players over, and they're going to be paying them $4,000 to $5,000 a week or something like that. That includes housing and
the inability to leave.
And coaches, you get this and that. And Filippo's like, you know what? I think I might be boning up on my ability to play again in Saudi Arabia 3rd division here.
Be careful, Filippo.
$4,000 a year.
You won't get to leave when you want, and they'll start making you build stadiums before you know it. Yeah.
Berlin says $5 million as a coach.
Oh, well, that he might be able to pull off if he's got the right connections, right? And that's what it is. But I went through all the lineups of the Saudi league. And yeah, people are going to say, well, what about, those performance Al had during the
World Cup 2022?
Yeah, who fucking cares? No one actually cares about that tournament, number one. The big teams don't bring their best players. And,
How about Pulisic played?
It doesn't matter. It's a nothing tournament. It's a nothing burger. It's nothing to use as an example of how good a league is. So yeah, just go look at the lineups yourself. It's like this: good player, Saudi, good player, backup, good player. That's it. That's the whole team. Every team is like that. They got 4 players, 5 players at best from Europe. 1 of them are superstars out of the 5, and the rest of them are Saudi domestic players. It's not that that's bad, because the Saudi teams have done well in what I think is a more important cup, the Asia, Confederation Cup. So, I mean, they've won that on occasion. Not every year.
The bigger talking point is how Saudi Arabia did in this last World Cup. They beat Argentina. They did lose to Mexico, and they lost to, was it Poland? I think it was Poland. But as people mentioned, they're very competitive during those matches. They tied the U.S. going into the World Cup. And you can come up with all your examples that you want as far as arguing for or against there. I guess my argument for why they're performing well is you basically had two teams in the Saudi League that filled the entire World Cup roster for them. So they have a lot of good chemistry together, and chemistry can outwork and with a good blue collar work ethic. Not saying they're not good players, not talking about their skill level by any means. All I'm saying is that chemistry and hard working, you can overcome a lot of major obstacles. Hell, the United States did that for a long fucking time.
Saudi Arabia has a long history of loving the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they've been doing this a long time. They're not new to the game. They're very decent very often, but I don't think that makes their league an awesome league. As you said, it's dominated usually by a couple teams, and maybe this is spreading out the glory a little more with all of the players that are going to be headed to Saudi Arabia. But we'll see. I still don't think it's going to amount to a molehill as far as attention goes.
You can make that argument that you look at Germany. It's basically run by one team / one or two competitive teams in there. And then the rest of the teams don't have a chance to win it. But the overall depth throughout the Bundesliga is what makes it a good league. Is what makes it a good league, not just the one team that's constantly winning the championship.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and guess what? It's also on TV.
The other comparison there is look at Scotland. We talked about them a little briefly earlier. Yeah, they have two teams that consistently compete in Europa or Champions League. Sometimes throughout history, they've had good runs.
Not for a long time though.
2002, I think Celtic were runners up at one point or something like that. Or something. I don't know.
It's been a while.
But regardless, my point there would be is you still have a league that's run by two teams,
right?
And the rest of the league is.
Yeah.
And you have nonstop arguments between MLS fans and everybody else and whether or not the SPL is better than MLS or is it worse than MLS?
All to say that the game last night was atrocious. And I called it at the beginning of the game. What is the score I sent you, Brett?
You said 5-0 because there's goal. And you're like, I'm going to get 5-0.
And I should have put some fucking money down on that shit. The one time I get the score exactly right, and I didn't put any money down at all. Bad mistake on my part. But
I don't know.
It smelled like it right at the beginning of the game. This looked like, oh God, we're going to get killed. We looked lost out there. And that's, of course, because you can say, okay, it's because these guys don't play together. But, Arsenal, they haven't played with each other for months now. This is the beginning of their season. You would think they'd be a little winded or look a little discomfort or have discomfort or look discombobulated, but they didn't. We did.
Yeah, and most of those players, they played every day for at least the last 11 months.
Well,
so I guess the argument there is they're obviously going to have chemistry, and what chemistry faults they might have, their overall skill level will make up for it.
Well, then explain us beating Chelsea. Explain us beating other teams that have come over in preseason.
You would have to go back and relook at those teams. Because that Chelsea game, I'm assuming you're referring to one that was in 2006 or 2008.
Was that the Beckham year?
I would say I don't know if that was Beckham was there in 2008, but I don't know if that was necessarily the year that we played Chelsea. But I mean, the teams, you go back there and look at the teams are quite a bit different. People talk about when they talk about MLS as a whole, and that's kind of weaker over the years because you keep adding all these expansion teams, and you keep diluting the overall talent. You go back and you look at the Houston Dynamo of the 2002, through 2006 era, where they with 4 cups back, whatever.
The Brian Ching era, as it's known.
I mean, that was a pretty solid overall team. I mean, you're looking at young players on the depth that were on the bench that ended up becoming big players later on too. So I mean, it's a bit of a different scenario. When we're also talking about a team that clearly don't play together. That's one thing. Chemistry does have a factor there, so they're not on the same page. But ultimately, the other big thing that I noticed is that Rooney had subs coming in every 30 minutes, and then at halftime, and then 15 minutes in, and it's you can't build off that. Although ironically, they got despite the 5-0 score,
that's kind of how it always goes, though. It always has been like that. I think the
I don't
big
think
difference.
I don't think the big subs came. I don't think subs came in 25, 30 minutes into the game.
I
in the
do.
past.
I've remembered it in the past.
I'll have to
being
go
like
back
that.
and look at that, but I'm not sure.
I think the big difference is this. The big difference is when we used to play them in the old days, right? We played a different style of ball. We play some defense collectively as a group and hit them on the counter. That's what we always did, even back then when we were a more domestic league with domestic players. Now we're full of all these players from South America, Central America. I mean, we got players from everywhere now, right? And we're asking them to come together and play a style that's more exciting and more fun to watch. But guess what? It's not conducive to beating a team or upsetting a team in preseason because you're not sitting back and making sure your defensive boxes are checked. You're playing game versus them. You're trying to play the same way they're going to play, open, free, artistic, and you're going to get beat at that game every fucking time against Arsenal. Yes.
So, I mean, ultimately, I guess, with it being more free-flowing like that, yeah, you stand the chance of getting absolutely curb stomped like we did.
Yes.
But isn't that more entertaining for the fans? I mean, not necessarily the MLS
Arsenal fans, sure.
But overall, just fans watching the game because you saw a lot of back and forth. There were times where MLS had a couple of good opportunities on goal, scuff shots, or just straight at the goalkeeper. The chances were there to put some of those away. And then there were a number of chances where the balls were the passes were made perfectly to a player, and they go take their first touch, and then they kick the ball 10 yards for a goal kick on their first touch.
Oh no, they look nervous too.
I mean, absolutely, it was there, but they were not clean enough to capitalize on any of it. And I don't expect them to have capitalized 5 goals by any means, but putting up a couple of goals could have ultimately changed the tone of the game.
One.
Yeah, putting up one game would have been a consolation prize.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was still very ugly to watch. I was not really pulled into it much at all.
No, I wasn't either, especially when Arsenal started with their fucking C team and kicked our ass at the beginning. I knew they were going to put the big boys in later, and it got worse when they did. So, but yeah, you can't.
They went up like 2-0 like in the first 20, 30 minutes.
I know, and that
if it got actually worse.
And it were a bunch of players you'd never heard of before that don't actually play for Arsenal. So
Jesus scored the first goal, right?
Yeah, that's true. There were some other of those guys still in there, but there were a lot of guys on the pitch who don't regularly play for Arsenal that I didn't know who they were. I'd never heard of them. But I'm not an Arsenal fan, so maybe I'm just stupid, but I thought it was a lot of guys that don't start for Arsenal on a regular basis out there at the beginning of the game. But again, it all comes down to we try to play that sort of neat passing and artistic ball when in the old days our teams used to play great defense. We'd play like a 4-4-2, right? We huddle up in a shell and we do the counter. Well, we didn't do any of that last night. We tried to play out of the back as well. That didn't work out so well. So yeah, I expect if you're going to play them in the same way they play, we're going to get beat. Simple as that. We didn't even got to Al's question yet. All right. Arsenal has a way of turning no-name goalkeepers into stars. Ramsdale was just that. Martinez and Szczesny were both there. Turner is probably good. I mean, I'd like to think so. To me, I think Turner looks like he's gotten demonstrably better with his feet since he's been there. I mean, he was not good with his feet at all prior to that. He had a long ways to go. I'm not saying he's done getting better with his feet, but it's a lot better than it used to be. So I hope you're right, Al. And we'll see.
Yeah. Thanks for the $5 for Monday.
Right on. All right. What do you want to move to next? We are 20 minutes in. 24. Yeah.
I know this is crazy. We're 25 minutes into. We haven't even gotten to any of our garbage topics yet.
Well, I was watching the Chelsea versus Wrexham game. I know when I tried to type that in to you last night, I actually wrote Wrexham on accident.
Autocorrect, no.
I know, autocorrect. I must have started it with an R. But yeah, so that game, I don't know who was calling it, but my brother's watching it. And he texts me and he said, That dude just said it's 27 degrees here in North Carolina. It ain't 27 degrees. I said, yeah, he was doing Celsius. He fucked up. He forgot. It was an American audience and on an American TV, and he did just slipped it by his brain.
It's two English teams, so of course they're going to talk in Celsius.
Yeah, don't talk in Celsius. You're calling a game in the United States for a U.S. audience, because nobody in this fucking country knows what the fuck Celsius is. Like, I still don't know how to, like, if somebody said, can you tell me what Fahrenheit 27 degrees Celsius is? I'll be like, hot? I don't know how hot.
I'm pulling some shit, I forget, but yeah. Yeah, that's I've never really bothered with the whole whatever it is, the flip
conversion.
Over to it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I can do meters and yards. Like, I have that in my head. Like, I could figure those kind of things out. But Celsius and Fahrenheit, I have no way in my brain except for 27 is hot in Celsius. I don't know where cold starts, but it's not very far below 27 because their degree system is like, anyhow.
Isn't
all right,
zero
so
technically freezing? Isn't that
I think zero is freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you go from 0 freezing to 27 being hot. That doesn't leave like a lot of numbers in between, right?
Sure. At least, sure. If it's like, it's 11 degrees outside, it's cold, wouldn't it? I guess so.
Yeah, but we've got from from below 0 all the way up to like 100 degrees. So you got a lot more degrees, right? So you can't do that in Celsius. If I say, well, it's 92 here, and you go, wow, it's 96 here in Noblesville, and I say, well, it's 92 in Indianapolis, then we know we've got a 4-degree difference, and we know that subtle difference can make a difference. But if you call me and go, yeah, Derek, it's 27 Celsius here, and I say it's only 26 and a half Celsius here, that doesn't sound like a big fucking difference, does it?
Yeah.
But you get more of a range, a more precise range with Fahrenheit.
There we go. Celsius, take the Celsius degree times by 1.8 and then add 32 to it.
Oh, no problem doing that in my head.
I guess if you want to, I mean, it wouldn't be perfect, but you could just round that up to 2 and you can get the idea, I guess.
We need some Japanese math here to help us out.
27 times 2, and then plus 32. That's roughly about what you're looking at, I guess.
Sure.
All right, so I wanted to bring this up. Derek, we didn't really talk about the USL Pro and Rel.
I have in
On
private.
Twitter?
No, in private with certain people I'm not going to mention. Who listen? There are going to be a lot of people in USL who aren't going to be happy about this, and those are the people that have spent a whole lot of money already paying to be in USL, the top championship. There was a fee, if you don't remember, to get in there, right?
Yeah, it's the fee to get USL was like $5 million because that was the same price that they're trying to get MLS to pay at the time.
Yeah, but my point is there are a lot of teams in USL, the top of USL. Some of those teams are making some really big investments, right?
Sure.
And they're I don't blame them for being concerned, honestly.
Here's the overall plan. Just don't suck. There are going to be plenty of teams within the USL organization that aren't going to be investing the way that certain teams will invest, and they will get relegated. So, will there be an odd year where you might get relegated? Shit'll happen. Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting for those of us who wanted it from the beginning.
Using Indy as an example here, I know that we've had a couple rough years of performances as a whole. But I don't think we've ever been in contention to be relegated if we had relegation. No, so
not really.
Again, even with bad years for us, who I wouldn't say we've grown accustomed as a whole of success. We haven't really had massive amounts of success, but we've always been contenders. We've always been up there, it seems like.
Well, I think the problem with this announcement was it was leaked. It was leaked before. Like there have been 4 or 5 owners who have already said this.
Yeah.
What is this is real? And then they're being told it's real. It's like, okay, it would have been nice to know that this is where we were going and we would have had a better discussion. So there are lots of owners who are saying that right now, saying, where was the discussion?
All the owners are sitting there going, man, I wish I would have just spent the $500 million and went into MLS.
Yeah, sure. So I think, they're going to have to get through that delicate process now.
Yeah.
But really and honestly, that's the only way to pull pro rel off, right? Is to just do it without telling anybody and then telling them, hey, sorry, we're doing it. So just get used to it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they've done that. Like you think about the Premier League, before the Premier League, there were more teams at one point in the top division of English soccer. And one year they're like, yeah, I know there's 24 teams now, but guess what? Next year there's only going to be 20. So 4 of you are getting relegated next season. So it happens. Sometimes you just sneak up and tell people this is what's going to happen. You don't have any say in it, so just live with it.
Pull the Band-Aid off. Now, I've heard that if you, when it comes to like ripping off Band-Aids, you know how it goes where if you rip it off, it hurts for a second, but it's over with type of thing. That's kind of the idea behind it. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Apparently, if you rip up the Band-Aid up instead of just down, apparently it doesn't hurt. I don't know how that works out, but I've seen videos.
Is that some sort of metaphor I should be understanding? Ripping up rather than down? Is that a metaphor? I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of. If it was, it's over my head.
I'm like, is he trying to be poetic here? All right. What else we got?
Well, I feel like we had we used to have a segment back in the day. Back in the good old days of big soccer.
Big soccer.
2010, where we used to just collectively scour the social medias,
right?
The publications, or just forums and boards, finding incredibly dumb posts,
right?
And then just talking about them, and then
it used to have a name,
apart, having fun. And my thought process, I don't know if this is your thought process. My thought process, this was all an educational segment for the person at hand to learn something and grow as a person, right?
Sure, they hated us afterwards, but we used to call it Dumbass Poster of the Week.
We need to get like a little intro for that,
Yeah, Dumbass Poster of the Week.
You are a dumbass, something like that. I don't know.
Dun dun dun, something like that. And then we would post their quote, and we'd say, "This is why your post qualifies for the dumbest post of the week." And we're not going to go back to that, but we're not going to stop fucking telling people.
No, we're never going to stop.
No, you're not going to stop. Not now. I'm done fucking. For the time being, and probably for the good of it. Just this is good enough for me. All right,
all the single ladies at the retirement homes there, Derek. Wrap it up though.
Gross. All right. We are still going to call people out, individuals out for saying stupid shit. And one of the things that we have called individuals out for saying stupid things is, and it's not like there's just been 1 or 2 or 3. There's been like 30, okay? 30 dumb fucks who have said that Gio Reyna should never, ever play for the United States men's national team again because what he and his parents did was a horrible thing. Okay, well, no, what his parents did was a horrible thing. Here is our dumbass of the week, if we had it, which we don't. So he's not, because we don't have that segment anymore. But if we did, this would have qualified. Surprised by this. Claudio Reyna and he's surprised by this.
He's surprised by the U.S. men's national team soccer team saying, "Happy birthday, Claudio Reyna."
I mean, if he's surprised by that, then he just missed the whole Nations League, the fucking twat. So not as only a dumbass, he's a twat now, too. It's like, did you just not get the memo, dude? He just played in Nations League. So,
Claudio. This is for Claudio. Happy birthday, Claudio.
Oh, why would they? Okay, fine. That's over, too. All of it's over. It's all been shoveled under the rug.
USSF wants nothing more than just to move on from this whole
They are not going to linger on this.
Yeah.
They're letting it go. Okay, none of this should be surprising because they need the Reynas, because they need Gio. All right, and if you piss off the parents anymore, obviously that's not going to make Gio happy either. So it's time to make amends, right? That's why they clean shop. right? That no more
Yeah.
Ernie, no more McBride. They got Crocker. They got Betty Crocker now. All right, so they're moving on.
Al sent me this this rabbit hole to follow that has to do with Betty Crocker. Maybe we'll pull it up in an actual recorded show at some point where we'll talk about it. But basically, that basically alludes to the fact that we shouldn't be surprised that Betty Crocker was hired, and it wasn't a out of left field hiring.
No, it's not. He has plenty of U.S. connections.
Yeah,
we mentioned that. I think the first show we ever brought Betty Crocker up, or at least I thought I had.
to some extent, yes.
So this is not surprising. But Claudio Reyna and his family deserve zero respect, to be honest. I get it. They did some horrible things. They said some stupid shit. I agree. That was bad. Gio shouldn't play for the U.S. men's national team ever again. Well, that's when you're just a fucking idiot. That's like saying, okay, you know what?
Sins of the father.
Because Brett and EB are little bunny fuckers. They've been arrested and put in jail for fucking bunnies. That means all their children are bunny fuckers too, and they should all be thrown in jail.
You know the most frustrating thing about that, by getting put in jail for that, is that they messed up. It was actually fuck like bunnies.
Yes. They just misunderstood all of your texts.
You've been told that you fuck bunnies. No, we fuck like bunnies. It's different. Okay, come on.
But unfortunately, the CIA got all their wires crossed on that one. So Gio shouldn't play for the U.S. men's national team ever again. What him and his parents did was beyond Bush League. He didn't do dick, dummy. All he did was act like a baby. So he didn't say shit. He didn't threaten anybody. So get over yourself. Nowhere near professional. Not needed. And this, by the way, we're not lumping him into a crowd. We're taking on Eric's comment as an individual. And by the way, that's what we do on this show. If people are not who are new here don't know that, or people who tweet don't know that, then they don't know our show. We take on every individual as an individual, and we take their words for their words. We're not building a narrative. We're not saying there's thousands of these dumb fucks out there. We're just saying this is a dumb fuck thing to say. This individual said something stupid.
Well, I mean, yeah, we all say something wrong or just something dumb. I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't say anything dumb, but I've heard from other people that other people say dumb things. We're not calling anybody here specifically dumb. I mean, I don't know. I haven't gone through Eric's timeline.
Eric could be
he might be incredibly smart.
He might be an engineer for all we fucking know. But when it comes to soccer and understanding basic tenets of how you don't punish kids for something their parents did, well, then he doesn't have basic fucking human logic about how that works. And that's sad. Because, I mean, is he the kind of guy who has like the kid on his team that let's say he's a coach of a boys and girls soccer team or a boys team, youth team, and he hates the parents, so he punishes the kid and benches them because he doesn't like the parents because they're a bunch of fucking bunny fuckers or whatever their problem is that he doesn't like. That's not how this works. You don't punish kids for what their parents do.
Wonder if anybody had a bingo card with bestiality on it. Came up twice, guys.
Metaphorically.
Jeff brings up a great point, though, with the whole punishing the kid to get back at the parents. That does, in fact, happen.
Oh yeah, it does.
Because those coaches are giant assholes.
And that's why a little chicken fucker like this guy shouldn't be coaching a team. All right, that's why you shouldn't be coaching a team.
So I guess ultimately, like you mentioned earlier, we've talked about this ad nauseum throughout the entire GeoGate. Yeah. But Gio did, in fact, do something during the whole GeoGate. He threw a temper tantrum.
Yes.
He got called out. He's
a baby.
He had to apologize in front of the team.
Yes.
They moved on.
They moved on.
So it's bringing his shtick into this is the silliest thing ever. You cannot you could choose not to like Claudio or Danielle. That's your prerogative. By all means, like you mentioned, pretty shitty thing to do. But as a whole, bringing Gio into the equation, saying he should never play again because of what the parents did, it's bullshit.
And listen, again, I'm not saying this is not about math. This is about individual. This isn't about how large of a group of morons there are that believe the same thing. There are about 30 of them. They're all individuals. We've taken on their individual comments individually. All right? We didn't say they're all chicken fuckers, We took them on 1-on-1. I called him a chicken fucker. I might have called the other guy a fucking nut hugger. I might have called a different guy a different name, but we all took on their opinions individually. No narratives were built. No talking points were created prior to the show starting. All right, there we go. If Gio,
hold on real quick.
Okay.
Seth, the Sebastian that that Jeff is talking about happens to be Gregg's son, I believe is who he's referring to.
Sebastian Leggett no, he's talking about Becky.
No.
Oh,
Jeff says at least Gregg hasn't called up Sebastian. I think he's talking about his son.
yeah. I mean, we can't compare that to Bradley calling a Bradley because Bradley actually played in Europe at the time. If Gio apologizes to Gregg, all will be forgiven. But I don't think Gio will do that. He already has, though.
Yeah.
He already has apologized to Gregg. He still is influenced by his family. Gregg owes him nothing. I think it's Gregg who might have to step up and say, listen, I should never have brought that up at the immoral leadership conference. I apologize for that. Let's start over. Yeah. Nobody needs to do any more apologizing beyond that because Gio has already apologized to Gregg for being a fucking baby ass bitch during the World Cup and during, the beginning when he was told that he wasn't going to have a major role. Now there's debates about whether or not he told him that he wasn't going to have a major role after he was a baby, which I don't understand how that would work. I think you usually tell people, hey, you're not going to get much playing time. Then they turn into a baby.
To rehash, at least if you take for those who take Diego at his word, from what we've gathered across the course of 3, 4, 5 months or whatever of conversations, watching Spaces, watching our show and everything, is the last thing I recall is that Diego said that Gio was slotted in on the starting 11 against Wales. And during the practices in Qatar and during the friendly game, he slacked. He's like, I'm already making it into the starting 11. I really don't have to bust my ass in this heat. Then that's when Gregg got pissed off at him. And then he told him he was going to have a limited role. And then moving forward from that point, he was sulking. But then he had to apologize. They moved on. The sulking still kind of occurred throughout the World Cup. We saw it in videos where everybody's cheering, woo woo, and he's just like,
got his headphones on, doesn't give a shit.
So, it was apparent. So I mean, it just depends on it's he said, she said at this point. Diego's got obviously got plenty of connections within the U.S. men's national team. Right. So and Gio being one of them apparently, but take for what it is. But it's over again. And as I mentioned to Craig, and I know Craig's a troll. We don't know who exactly is. A lot of people believe that he's Sebastian Berhalter. He's probably just somebody trolling. But I said Gio did apologize to Gregg, and then Gregg used that story while the wound was fresh as a talking point at a symposium. All was forgiven. Expectations were set for Gio, and since then his performances with the Nats have been increasingly better.
Yep. But he went on to say something about Scally too.
Oh yeah. Sorry, hold on, let me pull back up.
And Scally needs to mature too. I already tweeted out something I heard he did at camp a little while back. Well, I wonder what it is that you heard he did at camp a little while back. I mean, honestly, if you're not willing to tell us, then we don't know.
Well, he dives back into his timeline, but he retweets a lot of porn shit. So,
who? Craig Walters?
Yeah.
Well, good for him. That's one good character thing that he's got going for him. I don't know about his opinions, but I mean, Joe Scally said a lot of things about Gregg and the way Gregg set up, and that it's too complicated and it shouldn't be. So we'll see how that works out when Gregg comes back. But I think Gregg has to be the bigger man going forward now. He's the coach, and he's going to have to say, okay, Pepe did hang up on me. No big deal. I'm going to get over that, and we're going to move forward. So, that's what I'm hoping will happen. That's what I suspect will happen. I don't see how this team can go forward and play its best football without Gio Reyna in the next 3 or 4 years. They need him.
As we'll get into Derek Ray's interview with Gio, apparently Betty has talked to Gio after the Mexico game.
Yeah.
Informed him of Gregg's reintroduction. Well, I guess it would have been announced anyways at that point during halftime of the Mexico game, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been all the news, and I'm sure he's probably been told before him. But Gio said that he talked to Betty after the game, and he assured him that he was still going to be a pivotal role moving forward with his team.
I don't like that term.
What, a pivotal role? I mean, I'm not sure if that's exactly word for word what he says there.
It just sounded like,
it's something
okay,
along those lines, though.
That just sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like coach speak, or it sounds like garbage. I hopefully it wasn't phrased like that. Hopefully it was like, hey, listen, seriously, you're really important to us. You and Gregg are going to work this out. We're all going to move forward together, and everything's underneath the rug here. We're moving on. I think that's the discussion that probably happened. I would hope.
And obviously the narrative from that, and again, we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show, but the narrative from that is that that Gregg still hasn't talked to Gio at this point.
Might as well bring it up now. It fits in.
I guess we might as well. But yeah, so he before we pull it up here, I guess I can pull it up and I'll still say what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Gregg here. And I mentioned this in a previous show. The benefit of the doubt being that he didn't want to say anything going into the Canada game. You don't want that in Gio's head, the whole, back and forth there. After the Canada game, he was with his family for the next couple weeks. Now he's back. Now he's back in Germany, and Gregg's taking a trip to Germany. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that while he's in Germany, he's going to pull him aside. They're going to have a conversation. They're not going to be best friends by any means, but they'll eventually work it out. They're both professionals at this point. So
yes, and I think I gave you my best understanding of what the plan is, and that is a face-to-face between Gregg and Gio, and it's going to be, hey, listen, what happened sucked.
Yeah,
I screwed up at the symposium.
Yes, and I did mention that too. He has to apologize for that.
He does. I mean, I didn't want to. Don't even go into what Gio's parents did. Don't even go there.
Nope.
Just say, listen, I screwed up at the symposium. Everything went haywire. It's, I want to push that aside now and move forward. And if we have to be if we don't have to be friends, but if we can be professional about this, I think this will work. And that's how that conversation's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. BMR says Brett is a Berhalter apologist. Confirmed.
You just
BMR,
said.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Gregg won a Nations League and a Gold Cup, and he got us out of a group stage. I mean, he can do no wrong.
Brett.
He can do no wrong. Berhalter for life.
This is you right now to people who don't know that you're being sarcastic. You're just
I want a 3-cycle Berhalter today. Sign him up.
Yeah. No, thank you. All right. Let me see. Blah, blah, blah. What part are we reading here?
Let's see here. I don't know. This is all talking about his
Is
time.
this page 1?
This is page 1, yeah.
Oh, it's on page 2.
He's talking about his time with at the end of the season last season.
Yeah, none of it's important.
Okay, it is on page 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Page 2 it is.
Because it's just
Bellingham,
player speak and all that other shit.
No, but here we go. I guess this is where we want to start.
Yeah. What's your feeling regarding U.S. men's national team after winning the CONCACAF Nations League? Gio Reyna, first I play for the fans, to the team, and especially my family. It's always fun to see some of my good friends like Joe Scally and Brenden fucking Aaronson, who I look forward to playing against in the season in the Bundesliga and killing them. I'm just adding the parts they left out.
It's Brenden Bro Aaronson, by the way.
It is Brenden Bro. I enjoyed the summer with the team and winning the Nations League was good for the group. Have you spoke to anyone from U.S. Soccer since Gregg Berhalter was reappointed? At least it's not that Irish fuck he's doing the interview with. That Ballistic does. Gio Reyna says, I spoke with Betty Crocker in Las Vegas after Mexico game, and he assured me that I will have an important, totally dude role in the program for many years going forward. My job is to kick ass and keep improving on the field and help the team win. There you go.
Seth Floyd says, LOL, why is Derek talking like a frat boy?
Actually, I was trying to do Bob and what's the guy? No, Ted
Bill
and
and Ted? Bill and Ted?
Bill and Ted's Great
You're doing
Adventures.
Ted.
Yeah.
Totally doing Ted, man.
Yeah, I was.
It's Keanu Reeves. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. That was my Derek Ray impression.
I guess let's go ahead and hit the Copa. Let's go ahead and hit the Copa quote here too.
It's not very good. I have to admit, my Derek Ray's not good. The Copa America is on U.S. soil next year summer. Is that a big target for you? That wasn't that bad. Come on, BMR. Gio Reyna. Cup America in the U.S. will be fucking great experience for our team as we continue to progress and become totally Broford. We need to raise our expectations. There is no reason why we shouldn't compete for the trophy in front of our fans in our country. That's our mentality. It's going to be huge.
Nib high school football rules. No, all right. So that's basically the big talking points of this entire talking point here, or debate of what's going on here.
Talking point.
Talking points. We have talking points that we've developed here. This is what we're going to talk about, Derek.
Let's drive home this narrative, Brett.
All right. So first thing, let's talk about Betty Crocker. And you, where is he at?
He said, I spoke with Crocker. I spoke with Matt.
Oh, he's down there. Okay.
In Las Vegas for the Mexico game, and he assured me that I will have an important role in the program. I don't like the word important. I like pivotal better, and I liked important, actually.
Yes.
But I think he's just summarizing.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure it was a deeper conversation than that, and that his job is just to...
It's in passing. Oh, hey, Gio, about Berhalter being rehired and everything. You're still going to have an important role. Bye.
Right. But the better news is that he also told him his job is to keep improving on the field, which means he'll be playing, and help the team win. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
One of the other talking points on Twitter today, was the first I play for my fans, for the team, and especially my family.
Yes. He loves his family. So
yeah.
I hope Gregg knows that. So Gregg's gotta let's leave that shit alone.
Alec,
and just move on.
Well, I was gonna say Alec took his best shot at some of the fandom here, and wanted to troll people, and said, and especially for my family, what a chode. So of course people blew up. You know, they started like, what the fuck do you mean, blah blah. And it's like, guys, Alec's whole point is to troll you guys.
Yeah, he trolled
Just
them.
lean into it.
Yeah.
You know, call him a troll. You know, I posted a gif of like people riding in a car that said, "Keep trolling," and then, you know.
Although you have to wonder sometimes about Alex, but yeah, if he really believes that, or if he's
there's a part of me that when it comes to Gio, there's definitely a part of me that thinks that the whole Gio gate definitely rubbed him the wrong way.
Well, that's okay.
I feel like he's rubbed the wrong way, which probably sparks it. And then he aims to troll. He does the same thing with John Brooks. Every time he has an opportunity to post John Brooks failing, he does it.
I just tell him he's lucky to be rubbed in anyway.
Aren't we all?
All right. What next?
The last thing was the expectations for the Copa. We need to raise our expectations.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's just, there's some people that are saying, like, raise our expectations. Our expectations should be to win every match. And I'm like, well, yes, that's true. But I mean, if we go into the World Cup, I mean, our expectations should be, but shouldn't really be. We're going to win the World Cup because how likely is that to happen?
I don't know. I mean, what I think he's saying is when we get into the World Cup, the expectation was to get out of the group stage. And then what did Gregg say? And then anything can happen. Well, I think what he's saying here is the expectation here is to get out of the group stage and get through maybe one or two more matches and get into the final or the semifinals.
Start seeing some progression forward instead of just, here, this is where we're at almost always. Now, there have been a couple times where we have gone that one extra step forward.
Right.
But most of the times you get out of the group stage, it's usually just that first knockout,
Well, so, we've done well in Copa America, Didn't we just make?
We got
the final?
a third, or was it a third last?
I thought it was third last time.
Third. We got the third, fourth place match when it was on U.S. soil last.
Yes. All right. God, our memories suck.
I forgot who the fuck we played though.
God, I can't remember either. Spencer Doherty for 269 says GGG Indy 11 post 2026. No, we don't want him.
Hey,
He haunt our nightmares.
He might be pretty decent at the USL level. We don't know that.
I suppose he'd be fine.
We'd have no attack. It'd be a bunch of 1-0 games scored by our wingers.
We'd be banned from going to any games.
Ooh. Yeah, Greg's sitting like, hey, isn't this hometown of that straight red douche podcast? They can't come to our games, guys. X them out right now.
Remember when Tack got thrown out of the training?
Tack did nothing wrong. Hashtag.
He did nothing wrong. But Michael Cameraman kicked him out of the training. Yeah. Probably because he's associated with us, because he's never said anything bad about Michael Cameraman before.
Yeah.
So
thanks for the 190 or 269, Spencer. Appreciate the constant working on that 69 aspect, though.
Oh yeah, and Tack always likes that number. It's his favorite position, I'm told.
It's very Brazilian, I guess. I don't know.
Brazilian? No, it's called shared giving. All right, no Palencia, 199. Happy for Aaronson playing the UCL ball this year. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, he'll get to play some. There's no doubt.
Watch him go back and absolutely ball in the Champions League again.
It would be nice. It would be great to see him.
We see him like, maybe the problem was Leeds.
No, I think the problem was the physicality.
No, 100%, yeah.
And I think Bundesliga is going to suit him a lot better. And I think he's going to do better. I don't know how much better. He needs to do better. He needs to impress, or else he, at this point, as we move towards 2026, is looking at the possibility of being eclipsed by other players, including his brother.
Including
his brother.
Brenden was just behind Harrison as far as chances created for Leeds. All I'm saying is that Berlin definitely exceeded expectations on the number of chances created to scoring.
You mean Leeds?
No, Union. Leeds didn't excel in scoring at all. That was the whole point.
I
being relegated.
Not following.
Sorry. My point is, when he was at Leeds, he was just behind Jack Harrison as far as number of chances created.
Yes.
Now he's with a team who has punched over their weight limit as far as scoring goals per chances created
by playing long ball.
Doesn't matter. Point being, they score goals. Now you have a player who can actually create chances and has strikers who can score a goal. That's all I'm saying. They don't have Bamford anymore. That's all that matters.
They got a striker who can score goals.
That's fine.
Becker.
One's enough.
Bale. I can't remember pronounce his name. He's all right, but he's the one that took Pefok's starting role. So we'll see how that works going forward. But Pefok's been pretty open about how bad he played. He said he played himself off of the U.S. men's national team and that he totally understands the decision to leave him off. But, I mean, he did. He did not play well. And he started off on fire. It's just sad to see it all crumble like that. I mean, the injury didn't help, but
still,
when he came back, he
needed to rebound, and that's on him.
Yeah.
So,
all right, what else we got?
We got some Nico Cantor conversation here.
My Argentine friends group chat is asking how TAM works. We made it, y'all.
Well, and then my response was pretty simple. I said, when a meme or a GIF doesn't exist, sometimes you have to create it yourself.
I didn't build the fucking thing. Yeah.
Now, do you know what movie that's from, Derek?
No, I have no fucking clue.
That's Kyle Reese. Does that help you out?
No.
It's Terminator.
Which one?
The original. It's Terminator. It said it's Terminator.
Really?
It's not Terminator 2. It's not Terminator 3.
That doesn't look like him at all.
Yeah, it's Kyle Reese. He's like, why couldn't the doctor here is like, why did you come in with like a ray gun or something like that? He goes, I didn't build the fucking thing.
Yeah. No, I remember him from the movie. Great original. I thought it was fun.
But yeah, so I guess my whole point, and as Seth points out here, is what is TAM? And people are asking how TAM works, and the thing is that nobody knows how TAM works.
Nobody knows technically
Nobody knows
all
TAM
the
and
ins
TAM,
and outs.
That's MLS funny money. It's basically the TV producers have flooded them with money. Here's a bunch of money. How are you going to use it? Well, we're going to give each team $1 million GAM at the beginning of the year. And then, if they transfer a player off, they're going to get, X amount in TAM that they can use only on players on their roster. And like, what the fuck?
Well, a lot of the money. So let me just explain it real quick. So what happened was there was a certain specific time in MLS history when Seattle Sounders and a bunch of other teams got together and said, hey, we want to have a permanent raise in the salary cap every year that's bigger than it is now. We want it to be closer to 6% than 3%, etc. All the old fogey owners, like the guy who owns the Revolution, said no, they don't want to do that. So what good old Don Garber did was, because he kind of agreed with the Seattle Sounders owners, was like, how can I figure out a way to raise the basic cap without raising the cap? And so every time a new team enters the league and has to pay their entry fee, that money for the entry fee gets split up and dispersed to the teams. I believe that's a GAM, right? Or is it TAM? I can't even remember the difference between the TAM and the GAM at this point. I used to know the difference.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's all fucking funny money. It is.
Okay.
The team is given money, and it's a set amount. So I mean, the $500 million that San Diego just had to fork over, that $500 million is not equally getting divided across all the teams right now. It's going to be dispersed throughout the course of, say, the next 10 years, Val.
No, it gets dispersed over the years, but everybody gets the same amount, and you can use it to but you can trade that stuff too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so it does get even more confusing than that. But you can use the money to write off players. You can bring a DP player and use that money to bring them down below a DP, but still pay them DP money, but bring their DP, and then you can sign another DP. So you can do all kinds of weird shit, and it's impossible to follow because everybody's doing a different thing and a different version of it on their particular club. Okay, that's the best how I can explain it. All right.
But as a whole, I guess the whole reason I brought this up is it's just a funny aspect of the game that is very specific to MLS, and it's one of those things that just kind of make it look minor league-ish.
Okay, well, I guess, but explain financial fair play in a reasonable way that everybody can understand that too. Good luck doing that, because everybody gets away with doing all kinds of wonky things in Europe.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's just as fucked up. I don't know. That's the only thing that makes MLS look.
Next thing you know, Europe's going to have an all-star game too. So
no, no, that ain't happening.
Chelsea owner was pushing for that. You know what we need in the EPL is an all-star game.
Who is the Chelsea owner?
Bully.
Yeah, an American. Of course, he's going to say something.
I know that.
Stupid.
That was the point. Though, is bringing up the joke.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah,
that was a dumb thing to say, but he's just kept his trap shut. All right, what else we got?
Well, we had Americans playing today. I had mentioned it before the show started, but Pulisic started and played for AC Milan.
He better.
I missed
the team
name they were already playing because it was against the 5th division team apparently.
Oh, I know. All these games are so atrociously against. I mean,
so they can go out and run around and get match fit. I guess.
What was the score for Paxton Aaronson's team? 35-1, something crazy like that. 17.
I know. Venezia went in and who's the American striker? Why am I spacing his name?
Novakovic.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. He came in like in the 60th minute and got like 8 goals.
I think they won that game like 31-0 or something.
It was absolutely stupid. Yeah. I think Paxton did get like 4 goals, and Bayern won 27-0 in their game, I guess.
I mean, it seems like kind of a waste of time to play a pub league team.
Yeah.
To warm up. How about like 3rd division, 4th?
Maybe
We're gonna
they're
go play
working their way
a
up.
pub league team.
Maybe you play the pub league so that way you get a little bit of match fitness, and it's basically them just jogging. I feel like it'd be better off you just scrimmaging first versus second team, right? Pull up the AC Milan Academy
It's
team,
more
play them. I
competitive.
feel like that's more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, some of these scores
Oh,
of these friendlies are
no.
just unbelievably atrocious. So,
But yeah, Pulisic played today. He had 2 assists.
who'd they play?
Some 5th division team. I forgot the team name. I can find it if you really want me to do it.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I mean, because it's not that
AC
impressive, honestly. That's like, okay, Paxton Aaronson's 4 goals aren't that impressive. Novakovic's 18 goals, not that impressive.
They played Lumazane.
Okay.
They don't even have an emblem here. Look at that.
Yeah, they're a pub team, dude. What do you expect? Their actual logo is a glass of beer.
Prost.
So, Prost. So yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah.
Oh, good.
So he had
Good-
two,
good
he had
for
two-
him.
2 of the 6 assists, and
Excellent.
he had 2 shots on goals from what I've seen of highlights that were decent. He hit the post once, and then the goalkeeper had to make a save. So he had an active game against a 5th tier or 4th tier Serie C. Oh, here we go. Chambers says they just got promoted to Serie C. So
Okay.
3rd division. There you go, Derek. You got your wish.
All right. Yep, that's better than.
I mean, it's no 27-0 or whatever the Venezia did.
Yeah. Okay, that makes it
That
look
was better. That was better.
Yeah,
Good for you, AC.
Okay.
While we're talking about AC Milan and Pulisic playing well and stuff like that, we've got some more AC Milan news.
Is this transfer news? Are we hitting?
Yes, this is still transfer news.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, kind of lumped right into it, but yeah, go for it, Derek.
There we go. Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me. All right. Fabrizio Romano says Yunus Musa is not part of Valencia's starting 11 today. No shit. AC Milan confident to get the deal done in the next days. Negotiations continue between clubs. It could be sealed soon after personal terms agreed.
So let's see. This was on the 18th. So this was as of 2 days ago. And
That's
this
actually
something-
how Fabrizio Romano sounds, by the way.
no shit, nice.
Yeah.
This is something a care of this character.
Anto
I don't know who that is.
Vitello.
So he says, so U.S. men's national team Otaku is basically paraphrasing what he says.
Offer to Yunus Musa has improved. AC Milan is confidently waiting signals from Valencia. Okay, yeah, we're still waiting. It's probably going to happen. You would think at this point. So Eunice's people have said yes. So the deal improved, the offer improved. So
The team that was battling relegation in Serie A for AC Milan, imagine they're going to say yes.
yeah, I mean, Moose don't. Let's not kid ourselves. Moose is going to have to fight for a regular
Yeah,
starting role.
100%.
So,
Guy is what, also like 19?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes sense he'll have to fight for it.
right. All right. What else we got? Per James Benge, Inter Milan to submit a 40 million bid to Arsenal for Flo. Inter could look to include a sell-on percentage or buyback option. Arsenal unlikely to rush the response with PL suitors in the mix, including Brighton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham. Yeah, I mean, he's on the tour right now. We just saw him in the All-Star game. So
I know this was posted on the 18th and all, but I feel like we talked about this because of the whole buyback option, which sounds strange.
it does.
Hey, we're going to buy them, but if we don't like him, you got to buy him back. So is that what I'm hearing, basically?
It's so weird. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I mean, 29 tried saying terms were agreed with Fulham.
This must have been about Musa.
Must be.
Yeah. But you know
yeah.
what? I think if AC Milan came back, I feel like Musa's probably going to look at AC Milan and Fulham and.
I heard the
poison
Fulham
at that
thing.
point.
Heard the Fulham thing was pretty close, and then out of nowhere, AC Milan improved the offer. It was better than the Fulham offer, or I don't know by how much. And then it started all over again. So Atalanta has shown interest in Weston McKennie. Gian Piero Gasparini finds him intriguing. So he wants to go on a date with him, or he wants to have him play
Maybe.
soccer.
Hey, he's a very charming guy, Derek.
And they may make an offer to secure him for their squad. We shall see. I don't know. Is that a loan? Is that a buy? Because I don't think Atalanta is going to pop down the kind of money that Juventus is asking for.
Yeah, I mean, that the amount of money they're asking for is EPL money or top team of insert random league here.
Yeah.
And Atalanta is definitely a contender in Serie A. But
I don't think they have that kind of dough.
Yeah, I don't think they have the money for that type of shit. So, and the big thing with Weston now is obviously people are like, well, clearly that the rumors of him not being part of the plan must have been false because look, he's on the roster and he's going to be here on the 29th when they take on who do they take on? They take on AC Milan. They take on somebody big.
Yeah,
but regardless,
I don't remember.
But
who cares?
But we talked about this last show. Is that well? Of course, Allegri's got not backtrack, but he's going to change. The tune's going to change because obviously
it wasn't Allegri.
Well, he was the one who's being maybe misquoted. I don't know.
It was the team because they were trying to sell him, and no one was coming with offers because their fucking price was too high.
Yeah,
they're like, "Well, fuck him, make him pack his bags and go to America because it doesn't look like a deal's going to get done."
Yeah, no. Basically, I mean, if you're wanting say 30 million for a player, and the teams aren't coming back with 30 million, they're saying like, about 22. I'll give you 22.
Yeah,
so they're like, nah, we want the 30 mil, and what's going to increase that price tag? I mean, what's going to increase the likelihood of playing getting that price tag?
He's going to have to go back to playing for Juventus.
He's going to go play. Yeah.
Yes.
Him riding Pine or not even being on the 18 will only hurt his
oh my God, his value it'll sink like a rock.
So Juve would either have to take that lower bid now, or they're going to be playing him throughout the season.
They're going.
Now, he might not start every game.
No,
but he may start every other game. There may be some kind of a rotation. He may play Champions League. Well, not Champions League or Europa, actually, for that matter.
Cup. They play
neither
Cup.
of which.
I'm sure he's going to play more than that.
No, yeah, I think so too.
So because whenever he's been healthy, he's played regularly for Juventus. And I know they weren't happy about him sort of forcing that loan to Leeds. Because, McKennie, some people say, oh, Juventus were happy to loan him out. And other people said, well, Juventus was kind of surprised that McKennie's, and 29 can let us know. I mean, I don't know if he can give this kind of detailed information, but others said that Juventus felt a little betrayed that he didn't want to stay there and that he was so happy to leave and go to Leeds.
Do you not remember maybe the fans, but do you not remember every window? All we heard was Juve were shopping Weston. Tottenham's interested in Juve.
But Allegri kept playing him. So
100% up until the point of last whatever. They were trying to sell them because they needed the money. They are strapped for cash. They're hurting.
Yes,
and they need to offload him so that they can continue paying other players on the pitch. Because quite frankly, that $30 million price tag is lucrative, and it's going to be nice for them to get. Yes, they're going to be losing a player like McKennie, but they feel like, we can replace him.
And they're not playing Champions League, so they're not getting any of that money.
Yeah.
So they're
ultimately, I don't think they were hurt by any means that he forced a loan. I think they wanted the transfer, which is why they accepted the loan with the buyout option of like $33 million from Leeds. Like they actually upped the price.
They could be mad at him because he went to Leeds and didn't do as well as they thought. Yeah.
Or didn't go to a team that would have been better for him than going to play with his friends at Leeds,
Because West Ham was pretty interested as well. So, All right. All right. So are we done with transfer news or is there more?
Yeah, we are done with transfer news and
are we
fluff pieces in general.
Moving on to the main topic of the show.
Hour and 14 minutes. We got to come up with something else. Hold on, let me scour the internet and find something ridiculous to talk about.
No. Brett?
We're an hour and 14 minutes in, Derek.
So what? Sometimes that's all there is. Yeah. All right. We've already been chicken shitting around for a while here at the beginning of the show with 20 minutes of filler. All right. We don't
First
think
20 minutes were actually MLS talk. That wasn't even filler.
That's true. All right. So I put together a list because the headline was 40 players. Okay, there are 40.
Yanks.
There aren't 40 that play in either of the following categories. This first column on the left is everyone that plays in or is currently on an actual Bundesliga team, the top league. The list on the right, the first chunk on the top, is everybody that plays in 2 Bundesliga. The list on the bottom is everybody that plays on Bundesliga teams or that are on a 2 team.
They're on 2 teams, so regional basically.
Right. So, and then there's a whole nother group I had that would have made 40 that play in 3 Liga. And I don't know, we'll get into some of those players, but for the most part, they're not going to have any shot really at making 2026 unless they're in 3 Liga because they're on a 2 team that plays in 3 Liga, because there are 2 teams that do play in 3 Liga, like Freiburg plays in Dortmund's 2 team plays in 3 Liga. So yeah.
Oh, I thought all the in Bundesliga, I thought all the 2 teams were housed in the regional level.
Nope. They can only go as high as they can go is 3 Liga. And so there are teams in 3 Liga that are 2 teams. And Dortmund and Freiburg are the only 2. I believe they're the only 2. I may be wrong. There might be more. My brain's not working.
Well,
all right.
The chat's going off on something here real quick.
Okay.
Apparently, Herc was not credentialed by USSF.
That doesn't surprise me.
Ever since his Berhalter interview, he's been on a scorched earth campaign.
No,
It's been nice to see.
The specific thing that he said about Gregg speaking at the Immoral Leadership Conference, and I quote, was what?
He was a Muppet.
That's correct. He called him a Muppet.
No. I'm just saying, since the interview that he had with Berhalter, he's been more scorched earth with USSF in general, as far as just basically.
So is Seb.
Saying, yeah, 100%. Well, I bet you Seb wasn't in credentialed either.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that U.S. Soccer. Listen, getting uncredentialed takes very little effort. I'm a case in point.
Well,
okay.
I think we're both, given the fact that we start all of our shows with the turd in the background.
Yes, but
I think we're fucked for life.
This is going back 20 years, though.
Sure, fair enough.
When I actually used to write. So, yeah, it doesn't take much criticism to get U.S. Soccer pissed at you. And that's just a trend. And when you got a bigger voice like Herc does, I was just some fucking beat writer. And for 365 and a few other sites and Big Soccer as well. There were lots of guys that don't get credentialed. I remember Bill Archer. Remember, he had a fucking pain in the ass time at Big Soccer getting invites to things and getting to go to interviews or go to games. It was always an uphill battle. So it's not surprising that that Herc is facing the same consequences.
Freudian slip there, Derek.
Yeah, not Tact. But although that is happening to Tact in some cases, because
exactly that's what my point was.
Yeah, obviously he was supposed to be allowed to be where he was at, and he was specifically pointed out and told to leave. Okay, so that's not cool.
You hurt my feelings. You can't come in here. Take my call. I'm going home.
And who does Herc associate with? Tact, Pete. 29.
He's actually talking about doing a segment with Diego. I don't know how consistently that's going to be, but
us indirectly, all right? Us indirectly, not directly, through intermediates. And so, yeah, that's not going to make you a very popular person, although they probably could give 2 fucks about us. But what I'm saying is he's associating with Tact and Pete.
Remember
they don't like that.
Your viral rant went through the offices of ESPN. So
yes, it did. And there's one person who's responsible for that happening.
Oh man,
thanks, Herc.
It's fun being us.
Yeah, S27 199. Will a U.S. men's national team guy go play in Saudi Arabia? Miles? Nah.
Definitely not gonna be Miles.
No, the reason is they're not really looking for that. If you go look at the lineups of a lot of those teams, it's a couple superstars or ex-superstars or players that have played on really good teams like Napoli or whatever. It's not guys coming from MLS typically.
Could you? But I guess in that argument for U.S. men's national team, though, could you imagine, say, Saudi after a couple of years now coming to Pulisic and say, "Hey, we'll offer you $8 million. Here's $8 million. I think I got it under my couch cushion. Hold on, here's $8 million for you to come play for us." And MLS is going to be soon like, "Oh, wait a second, we got a team that's willing to offer you $5 million. How about that?"
Listen, the only reason all these people are taking all this money is because it's a lot of fucking money. And that's it. It's not because they really want to go there and play in Saudi Arabia and play in the Saudi Arabian League. They are going to not get the same attention as Messi is going to get. Messi goes to Saudi Arabia. He's still going to get some attention, but nowhere near what he's getting here in the United States. His video had 3.5 billion views. I don't know about that.
No, so we had that conversation on Twitter because people were like, well, Tack even brought the wings. I feel like he got a lot, but I feel like anybody who believes that it's 3.5 billion is bonkers. And I'm like, well, maybe it isn't.
Is this a YouTube video?
Well, that's the thing. It could be number of views. So like somebody could click on to watch it, and then they're like, yeah, I gotta go do something else, and they go do something else. They come back and click on it. There's all of a sudden 2 clicks. Or what if it's on Twitter that was playing and people are scrolling through their feed?
Yeah, we don't know what they're
counting.
Maybe
it's impressions. Maybe that consists of views.
Yeah, we don't know.
You
we
talk
don't know
about
what
this
they're
all the
counting
time on Twitter. You're like, how did my one tweet get like 30,000 views? I'm like, well, that's because people are scrolling through timelines and it keeps showing up. So if a bunch of people retweet it, all of a sudden you scroll through, you go through, like you see the video like 5 times. That's five views on Twitter. Maybe that's all it was. Who knows?
The point is we don't know how they got to that number. It sounds like a ridiculous number.
Half of the men and the women around the world tuned in to watch Messi join MLS and get introduced by Gregg Berhalter.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. So he said the reason I was talking about MLS players, Brett, is because he said Miles. No, Miles is not going to Saudi Arabia.
That's what you assumed MLS. He says U.S. men's national team guy. And he brought Miles up as an example, I guess. But
well, what the fuck? He said Miles. What am I supposed to just disregard? The fact that he's saying, I guess, okay. If you're talking about a U.S. men's national team player, yes, there are guys who are going to be approached probably for, like, Pulisic would be a good candidate. He's a big major superstar who they could probably get for a whole fucking shitload of money. McKennie. The question is who's going to take that money? Just guys that, for the most part, have already done their career. Well, Pulisic still got his career to go. He ain't going to go there.
That's why I said a handful of years from now.
Yeah, not even a handful, more than that. This is something you do after 30. It's not something you do before 30. Go look at all those players. Most of them on the team. A handful
would put Pulisic right at 30. But still, I get your point. Yes.
Still, the point being, most of the players on that team are on those teams that are former superstars are over 30. So, all right. So let's get to this list unless you got more comments coming.
Nothing yet. Go for it.
Okay. So let's go down this list and talk about who could contribute in 2026 if they play well in the Bundesliga. We'll start with Malik Tellman. I think there is a really good chance if he gets on a team, don't go back to Scotland, take a loan somewhere like Stuttgart or Leverkusen or wherever you got to go, but play and perform.
From a personal preference, I hope it's not Scotland, but I feel like even if he goes back to the Rangers and performs as well as he did, Berhalter will still give him
the Rangers.
The Rangers.
Well, it's the baseball team?
Yeah.
No, you're I mean, listen, Rangers is fine. If he's playing at that kind of high level.
I mean, from a personal standpoint, I hope he doesn't. I hope he does not go back.
I don't want him to.
I hope he goes to any number of other teams that will probably be interested in his services.
I mean, go play at Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
I mean, Bayern and Hoffenheim have this connection all the time. All kinds of Bayern youngsters go play for Hoffenheim. Chris Richards did it. So let's do that. Let's do that. Caden Clark.
He's not going to be in the Bundesliga. He's going to be over in Holland.
But we're talking
with whom? 20? He's going to be 20.
We're talking 2026. No, I don't.
Sure,
think it
yeah,
was-
he might. Yeah, obviously, he might still be Leipzig at that point. But
I don't
yeah,
think it
as of right now, who he's signed with is Leipzig. But he's the
Not
rumor is
20.
he's going to be at 20.
No,
Who was it?
can't
It was
remember.
20. This was 20.
It could be.
Somebody
I
was
don't
linked,
think so.
Somebody was linked to 20.
Well, he's leaving. He's going to
Yeah.
Holland.
He's getting loaned out somewhere. Yeah.
I don't think it's 20 though. All right, it was another team. I would have remembered if it was 20. 20.
Pronounced 20 in America.
So Gio Reyna, yeah, we've already talked about him plenty tonight. Yes, he's going to be on that team. Timothy
He's got an
Chandler,
important role, right?
very important.
Very important.
All right, Timothy Chandler, no, he's done. I know he just scored against that team.
He keeps plugging and chugging, man. But yeah,
He's done. Paxton Aaronson has a good shot, a shot at eclipsing his older brother. It's possible. There are no guarantees because guess what? They sure look alike when they play. So we'll see. We'll see how that develops. But okay, Sittard is what I remembered. I didn't remember Twente. Whatever. Uli Lanez, we all forget about him being at Wolfsburg still.
is he still? I thought he's just been getting loaned out this entire time.
Yeah. He's done, folks. Kevin Paredes has a very high opportunity. Brenden Aaronson, let's see how
he just tore a muscle.
Yeah, he'll be
right?
back. We're talking 2026. He'll be back.
Oh yeah.
Brenden Aaronson, let's say if he plays really well and then Union Berlin decide to stick with him and buy him and he goes back, who knows?
Yeah. All right. So when you go back, because Larry jumped into the conversation here, and he's obviously been high on Timmy Chandler and how Timmy Chandler's been screwed over the years, not being called in for the national team and stuff like that. And you said, Timmy Chandler, he's over. He's no longer a contender here. And Larry goes, why? Because he's ugly.
He is a weird looking motherfucker, but I don't think that's has anything to do with it. Yeah, he's weird looking. I'll say that. He's not the only weird motherfucker that's weird looking. Yeah, Larry, he's just done. He can't get any playing time at Frankfurt anymore. I thought, frankly, he would go and find another team, like one of the teams that just got promoted, so he can actually play.
Still getting bit minutes here and there.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I could have sworn he got some minutes there.
Dude, are you calling bit minutes playing like a handful of games the whole fucking season? 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there?
That's like the definition. That's like the definition of bit minutes, Derek.
No, a definition of fucking bit minutes is playing a few minutes almost every game. He doesn't even do that. He doesn't even meet that fucking basic bottom line bottom of the barrel qualification. He rode Pine almost all season. Period. End of story. Not going to get into even the minute part.
Nope. No, you're right. He definitely wasn't a bit minute at all.
Yeah, he's done.
He barely even get, like what 114 minutes across 8 games. Wait. He wasn't a part of that. Yeah.
And most of those were at the beginning of the season. All right.
That's like the very basic of that's not even bit minutes. That's extreme shit minutes there.
That's shit minute section. So there you go. And then Pefok, we all know about Pefok. He just needs to turn it around.
That's all he needs to do. Yeah.
And then he's
get his name back in the hat. So
let's hope he has some competition for Malik Sanogo this year.
Yeah.
So Malik's the kind of guy who's killing it with the youth teams.
He's been killing with the youth teams for the past couple of years, and
about 3 years. Yeah.
This is
U19s. I was like, Brett, I'm not having this. I know.
I could have swore I heard his name come up a little more than 120 minutes throughout the season. But
no,
okay, whatever. I was wrong, Derek. I'll own up to it. But yeah, so Malik,
are you challenging me?
This is the second preseason Union's called Malik up to play during the preseason. Hopefully, this is a sign that they are looking to bring him up to the first team at some point.
He didn't look that good with our U20s, though.
Yeah,
looked kind of iffy.
Couple of games, yeah. They weren't the best by any means.
No, yeah.
Well,
we all know
everybody's young. I mean, how many U20s did we look at and say like, this might be their peak?
Yeah, I know. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes but it's just this is just a list of people to keep your eye on. You know, the obvious ones like Joe Scally's next. Obviously, we don't need to talk about him.
Yeah.
He's already there. Maurice Malone.
He better be there. Hell, we saw Moore play over him in the World Cup.
Dude, that again.
What?
You bringing that up is just hearing about it is irritating. The fact that Shaq Moore played over fucking Joe Scally.
My God. Yeah, I know Yedlin did too. But at least Yedlin has the experience. You can make that argument for him, sure. But Shaq Moore, really?
Larry, thank you for your $2, but I don't think comparing Chandler with Turner is really something we should be doing right now. Kind of different situations and different
I'm statistically, I don't think that's accurate. I think he may have got more cup games and minutes than
No. I agree. He got more cup minutes, but he said league.
Oh, well, fair. Okay, if we're gonna specify that, I guess. But I mean, I guess when it comes to playing time, I just want minutes in general.
No, all I'm saying it's like comparing soup to a steak. It's not comparable.
Might be very good soup though.
It doesn't matter how good the soup is. You can't compare it to a steak. So they're just not comparable things.
Yeah, he has like 630 minutes playing time last year. That's like
it ain't much.
6 times more than Chandler.
It ain't much, but it's cup play time.
It is more league, you're right, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for the $2, Larry.
But we appreciate the $2.
It is fun to fight, I agree.
Yes, it is.
Now, I guess jumping back to the Chandler thing, real quick, for the last thing about Chandler in general.
Why?
Because it's fun to fight. We just talked about this.
But Chandler? Why?
I guess ultimately
to Chandler.
Ultimately, when he was playing in Bundesliga, the big question there, and this is going to spark something, I'm sure, but
I hope not.
Why wasn't he being brought in?
When you mean that season where he scored all those goals, but
like 2015 basically.
Because he had a reputation for not giving a shit. Number one, I think that's well known. Number two, he refused some call-ups, right?
During the Klinsmann era, yes.
During the Klinsmann era. So he just fell out of favor. Period. End of story. And you know what?
And then there's always the rumor of him being afraid of flying.
It's not a rumor. It's true. He hates flying. He hates flying. Just ask. My mom interviewed him. Yes. Brian Schroeder interviewed him. My mom translated. Yes, he hates flying. This is not a secret. It didn't make the interview, but it was part of the conversation. And then when I brought it up, all these motherfuckers jumped on me because I was a dog, right? I was a dog in Facebook. They're like, shut up, motherfucker. No way you know this. It's like, okay, well, my mom was part of the interview. They're like, oh, what's your mom? What kind of bitch is she? You know, like a dog. They were trying to make a joke.
Yeah.
She was a bitch. Anyhow, fuck those guys. I think Rob Usry was one of them back in the day. Rob? Remember Rob?
Yeah, I remember Rob. We pulled him up not too long ago in a show.
Yeah, I'm not busting on him now. He had no idea who I was. And he had no idea because I was a dog. I was D-Rec on Facebook. So, of course he thought I was a clown.
Who was the God, I'm spacing it now. Who was the guy that got on us about using one of his photographs?
Oh, I don't know.
Or whatever. Or it wasn't even thumbnail. It was just a background photo of one of our videos.
Yeah, I don't know. And I just said, fuck it, dude. We won't use it anymore. And he never.
I mean, he was very nice about it. Basically saying, yeah, you guys got to take that down. You can pay for it here. But all right, we'll find some other free picture.
Like, I'm not paying for dick, but we're never going to use one of your photos again.
We'll use the same photo, but give him like a curlicue mustache.
Fucking add a little ball sack on him or whatever. Yeah. So Maurice Malone is back at Augsburg. I am predicting Maurice Malone will actually be kept on the first team this season. They got rid of Pepe. Who else do they fucking have left at Augsburg who can score? Maurice Malone had a really good season in Austria for Wolfsberger. And so not saying that that's going to translate to the Bundesliga, but he's still young. I think he's 20 years old. I believe he's still 20. That's a young guy who's ready for, I think, a new adventure. And I am predicting that Maurice Malone is going to get some starting time this year at Augsburg.
Maurice Malone, the designer, is 58 years old.
Not that one.
Oh, sorry.
All right. The guy that played at Wolfsberger last year.
Yeah.
All right. John Brooks.
22.
Yeah. 22? That's still pretty young. John Brooks at Hoffenheim. We don't need to talk about it. He never playing for the United States men's national team again. Greg hates him.
No, Berhalter at the helm. Hey,
Greg hates him.
Maybe he's going to go to Germany and mend all offenses.
Well, you know what I do like? I like the fact that everybody knows now at this point, it's no longer rumor. It's no longer behind the scene. Everybody knows shit went down during the halftime of that Honduras game, and they had a fight. And there was an eruption, and there was arguments, and there was a spat, and that never got better between those two. And no fences have been mended. All we've gotten, however, is just horseshit and bullshit from everybody at U.S. Soccer about this.
And the thing is, you've had the Brooks on one side trying to mend the fences, at least saying, "Hey, I still want to represent the United States.
Yes,
I'm going to do whatever I got to do. I'm going to go over to
I'm not going to talk shit behind your back.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Germany and try to play, and I'm going to play the best I can. Mind you, some games were great, some games were bad. But you know what? I think more games were better.
No, he got really good by the end of the season.
So and obviously we talked about how Hudson was planning on bringing him back into the fold. Now, then of course Hudson left, and
it's the rumor.
Then Brooks is back. You know, needing to play at his preseason. Has Hoffenheim started their preseason yet? Well, he couldn't have been a part of that Gold Cup team.
Does it matter?
I know. I'm just saying the whole point is like, we're not going to include him here because he needs to be with the preseason with this team. You know.
You mean what beer pub team did they play this last weekend? I don't know.
I don't even know if they actually played anything. I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, yeah, they have. Everybody started preseason already in Bundesliga. Everybody. And
they played a game July 8th and July 12th. Yeah, they won 3-1 against Astoria Waldorf, and then they lost to SV Elversberg.
Hey, you were very good with both of those. Yeah, way to go!
I've been practicing.
Right. You've been practicing.
Just randomly reading European names.
Just opening a fucking geography book with all the German cities.
There it is, right there.
Bam.
Stursberg here. I know.
Damian Downs at Cologne will be interesting to see. He's a young guy. We'll see how much he gets to play. This is a lot of pressure on him right now. Not a lot of pressure, I should say. Like his job this season is to fill in minutes when he's asked to fill in. I don't know if he's going to start, but it'll be interesting to follow and track his development now that
19-year-old center forward, basically, huh?
Yeah. Now that Cologne, or Köln, as they're called in Germany, are in the top league. It's going to be fun to watch. Also fun to watch, Leonard Maloney at Heidenheim. What an amazing story for Heidenheim, making it into the Bundesliga.
What a great story for Maloney, quite frankly.
Oh, amazing. And he probably will get a lot of playing time at his usual sort of holding midfielder spot. Could he, in 2.5 years, make a case for himself as a backup to Adams in that holding mid spot? That's a question we have to ask, and we'll see how it works out for him. But what an amazing season he had last season, and what an amazing thing for Heidenheim. So
a lot of people are like, some people have actually watched him play, I guess. Some other people are, I don't know how, but maybe they watched Bundesliga 2 matches or something, I don't know. Or maybe the one match you got to play with Dortmund.
You get to watch them. They're on TV.
I know, I'm just saying, maybe I don't know how many people are actively going down and watching some random Bundesliga 2 team because a center back at the time has moved officially down. I don't know. Seems a little strange, and I doubt that there are very many Heidenheim fans here in the States, but is
No,
what it
that
is.
would be very odd if there were.
But
They're a totally
I guess
non-traditional team.
the
be in
bulk of the thing
Bundesliga.
is that most of the people are like, I don't care how good he is. It has to be better than Aiden Morris at this point.
Well,
And
I
I'm
would
still just
say,
not sold after Aiden Morris. I'm still not sold at all.
okay, ask yourself, could have Aiden Morris held down the starting spot for a promoted team in Bundesliga 2 last season and been one of the linchpins for that promoted?
He's doing well enough for
Bundesliga team.
Columbus, but man, he definitely hasn't done well at the international level yet.
That's not what I asked.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. He's doing well at the club level. I don't know if he could. I don't think he could personally, but
I don't think he could either.
yeah.
It's a different kind of pressure, especially as the season was coming to an end for Heidenheim. They had to hold on and make sure they got. I mean, that's pressure, man. Again, that's not something you experience in MLS. That kind of pressure. So I don't know.
That's what
Also,
Reggie Cannon was talking about, right?
Also, if you drop Morris into that kind of culture, Morris doesn't speak German, although most people speak English in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Most players in Germany speak some English, basically. It wouldn't be like a total fish out of water, but that is a cultural challenge right there going into a team. So you could not dump Aiden Morris into that team and expect the same kind of results that Leonard Maloney gave you last year as part of that system all through the whole season. So I don't think so. And I mean, again, you said it. I mean, he's just not looked good for the U.S. men's national team when the pressure's been on and he's had a chance to perform and impress. He's flopped, completely flopped.
It got to the point where I was rooting for Busio to start over him. So
yeah, and that's saying something. It really is. And
although hopefully this Gold Cup lit a fire under Busio's butt, and he'll come back to Venezia and actually start performing.
Yeah. Maximilian Dietz, playing for Firth alongside Julian Green. We'll get to see more probably of Dietz this season. He just joined the first team last season from the Firth 2 team and got some bit minutes at the end of the season. Didn't play much through the whole bulk of the season, but at the end they started giving him some minutes. So we'll see if he gets more playing time this season. Julian Green, in order to get noticed, is going to have to fucking dominate two Bundesliga. He's going to have to score goals and lots of them.
He was having a better second half of the season, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it was.
So hopefully that continues moving forward. I mean, and that's an interesting point because when you start talking about players who could have helped the Gold Cup squad that weren't.
Yes.
You have preseason, of course.
Yep.
But I mean, Julian Green's been at Firth for what? 2 years now?
Yep.
I don't think he necessarily needs the preseason with them. He could have been brought in, and that would have improved the squad dramatically.
I think all the people we've talked about already, I mean, Tillman was injured, but bringing Green and bringing Leonard Maloney just to give them some look-sees, I think that would have been a great thing to do. Yes, they would have missed one preseason game, maybe coming back, but I mean, I don't know. Those two guys I would have taken a look at. Nico Carrera from Holstein Kiel. We'll see if he gets a bunch of playing time this season. He's going to need to do something. He's going to have to make an impact because right now nobody's talking about Nico Carrera.
Not at all. Actually, the name sounded familiar. I had to look him up, and it didn't help me.
And then we've got Nathaniel Brown from Nuremberg. In 11 games last season, he had 1 goal and 1 assist. He's a left back. He looks kind of promising, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. He does look promising. As a left back, that's one of those positions we need help with. So somebody to just monitor through the season in Bundesliga 2. Terrence Boyd, I mean, we don't need to talk about him because we've talked about him plenty here.
And Berlin's been all over that front. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, again, here's a player in Bundesliga 2 that just been scoring goals.
Was hot for most of the season until the end. The end. He petered out at the end. But
so hopefully he does it again. I mean, I know that he's He's over 30 at this point, so I mean, the concept of really being included in the national team picture is kind of is rough, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously, though, you're looking at people who are arguing the fact that Josh Sargent's still in the picture, even though he's playing for in the EFL league. You have Pepe, who was playing for a relegation-bound Holland side at the time, and Berlin was simply saying, "Why aren't we talking about Terrence Boyd at all?" And I think the age factor alone was the big factor.
Right. Yeah. I mean, had he led 2 Bundesliga in scoring, he still probably would have been ignored. So we'll see how he does this year, but he's only getting older, as you mentioned. Nils Froling, I believe he's Norwegian, born in the United States, I believe. You
look at that last name and you're like, yeah, he must be Norwegian.
He's Norwegian or Swedish. He's Norwegian, I believe, not Swedish.
Yeah.
He's 23. He's a left winger. He has played for the Norwegian U18, something like that. I don't think he's anybody we need to keep an eye on. I don't think he's going to be good enough for us. He might be good enough for Norway, so they're keeping an eye on him. Nobody to really ruffle your feathers about.
Yeah.
Green had 7 2 Bundesliga goals. Yeah, that's nice. But for him, I think he's going to have not only I'd like to see him have like closer to 10 goals, but also a shitload of assists.
Well,
I'd like to see that from him.
And like we mentioned, we talked about him having a much better second half of the season, and how he would have improved the squad.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I mean,
yeah.
We keep talking about him for a reason. I feel like he has something to add. Now, how much that's going to be to the A team, I don't know, but he's. I don't know.
Can I put it this way?
He needs to have a second good season at Firth. That said Girth. That's
yeah.
Well, mind the gutter, I guess.
Right, but can I say this? So, for a lot of the season prior and the season last season, his backup was Timothy Tillman. Timothy Tillman has come to MLS and become one of the stars of his team. Hold on.
Good.
So does that say something about what Julian Green or what kind of impact he could have if he came to MLS? Wouldn't he be similarly regarded as a starting, pretty damn good player for a team like LAFC or even LAG or what?
Well, two things. One, Tillman actually, for a while there, was taking Green's spot.
He did. That's why I said for most of the season, not the end of the season or nearing the end.
And then he got sold, like Larry says, to LAFC, and he came over to LAFC, and he's absolutely killed it here. Now, I guess the big talking point I keep bringing talking point. I need to stop saying that fucking word. The thing I want to bring up here, in the sense, is that we weren't even. The USSF wasn't even contemplating Timothy. Well, I guess they're probably looking at Timothy Tillman primarily because of Malik,
Malik,
for that matter. But his time with Firth wasn't really drawing the interest of USSF. And then he comes to MLS and he's doing well in MLS, and all of a sudden, people in the media, especially in the MLS sphere, start throwing his name in there in the equation. Like, maybe we need to bring in Timothy. He's doing really good with the LAFC. Well, he was still doing that. He was still doing that in Bundesliga 2. Why weren't we looking at Bundesliga 2 player?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if he can come from Bundesliga 2, Timothy, and suddenly be propped up as a guy who should be playing in the Gold Cup, then why isn't Julian Green considered for the Gold Cup? Because he's doing the same fucking thing. So I don't know. We all know
he hasn't come over to MLS at this point.
Right. He's far away. Yeah. Like, that should make a difference these days. I mean, you can watch anybody's game if you really want to.
He needs to play on his preseason with his team, Derek.
Yeah, I know. Gay. I mean, isn't happy.
Well, I mean,
overly happy shit.
I mean, Mihailovic was there. I mean, didn't he need a preseason with Aze?
All I'm saying,
it's just weird.
No, it is weird, we get all of this weird justifications, but we don't ever get a real answer. All we get is a bunch of jumping around, subtle happiness about how good this player is and how good that player is, but we don't ever really get a real reason. So the real reason is Tillman came here and he got noticed because he's playing nearby. Green's not going to get noticed because he's playing far away. So there you go. Yeah. All right, Nils Froling, we already talked about. Johan Gomez, the brother of.
Did they just get recently promoted? I thought he was in 3 Bundesliga.
Yes.
Okay.
No, they didn't get promoted. He changed teams. Because now he's with Eintracht Braunschweig. Braunschweig is Liverwurst. So I guess this is the home of where Liverwurst came from. That's all I can think. Because if you go to certain stores, it's not sold as Liverwurst; it's sold as Braunschweig.
Dude, there's a Tom Holland interview. I guess where he's interviewing somebody. He's talking to somebody. He's like, "Let's talk about American cuisine. What's actually considered American food?" And the guy's like, "Hamburger." He goes, "It's from Germany, from Hamburg." The guy's like French fries, and then he kind of looks at the camera like, "Really, am I doing this?"
France, wieners, Frankfurters, Germany, yeah, American food. It's just American food.
You can tell by our actual food, like our main food, of who colonized the bulk of certain aspects or certain places of the United States. Quite frankly,
yeah, a lot of Italian.
The reason why Midwest is very bratwurst heavy, you know. Hamburger.
Yeah, the Germans settled this area for sure. Yeah. All right, so Johan Gomez, this is just an opportunity for him to have a good season and keep himself at least somewhat recognizable in the conversation, but people are still going to talk about his brother rather than him, even though he's actually doing something. So we'll see, but he's going to have to kill it. He's going to have to kill it to get noticed. If you're in this second column, you're going to have to destroy it.
I guess
going forward.
Johan probably has age behind him at this point, though. I mean, he's got to be in his early 20s, so he still has obviously still has a chance. But we're still talking about players like Tessman and Busio who are playing against Serie B at this point.
We are.
Why can't we talk about players who are doing well in Bundesliga too? Because
none of these dudes have played on the U.S. men's national team in eons, and that's why.
It's fair.
If you played recently under the butt sniffer, that is Gregg Berhalter, he still remembers you. He has fond memories of you while he grasps the Vaseline.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're distant, you're out of his memory, you've never been in it, you basically don't exist. That's the problem with Gregg.
Or USS in general.
Right. Then we go to the two teams. We got Butler from Dortmund 2. We'll see how Jalen does this year. You got his brother somewhere on this list too, Quincy Butler, Hoffenheim 2. I don't have a lot of faith in either of those right now.
I don't even know who they are. I don't know anybody in this 2-team list.
I believe both the Butler brothers started out at Bayern Youth. And they're both a decent 2 teams, but I don't know if they're going to play. Then we got Drew Murray at Freiburg 2. I have no clue who Drew Murray is. I have no idea. I've never heard of the dude until today. So he's from San Jose's academy. He just got there. He's not even there because he's 17. He's got to wait for his birthday in October. Then he joins the 2-team at Freiburg. Henri Chase, Stuttgart 2. Again, news to me. Did not know who this guy was. Didn't have a lot of information, but he is 19 years old. He's a center back, and let's see what happens with him. I mean, glad he's there. Adam Langus has been there for a while. We've mentioned him over the years throughout the youth teams. So maybe he's just continuing to develop. And then Tom Kanowski, that's a new name to me too, at a team that probably no one has ever heard of. So Butler is 22, correct, Larry? I mean, it's like, how long can we keep doing this? at the 2 team. And Dortmund, I mean, Dortmund is also a hard place, even on the 2 team, to get playing time. Maloney had a hard time.
Yeah, I was going to say Maloney had to do that. He had to bounce down to Bundesliga 2 just to get a chance to go back up to Bundesliga.
Right. And then, wait, is it just Jalen? No, it's Justin Butler, isn't it? Or Jalen? I think it's Justin Butler. I should have put his full name down there, Jay Butler. Now I can't remember what it was. But I think it's Justin. Here's another one. If we're going to go to 3 Liga, I'm just going to mention a few names because there's a bunch of players in 3 Liga. One was Brian Kao, and he's with Ingolstadt way down there in 3 Liga. And if we remember when he got to Germany in Wolfsburg, I believe it was, everybody's like, even Pete was like, this guy's going to be great. He's going to be really good. I think he's got a high ceiling.
Right. That's where I remember him from. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned the name before the show, and I was like, why does that name sound familiar?
Oh, no, he was highly touted. Like, he was a for sure bet.
Well, okay, but doesn't this bring us back to last show's conversation when it comes to hyping up younger players?
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I'm not saying Pete did. All Pete said was he had a high ceiling. Yeah,
it's perfectly fine to talk about the player and say, hey, there's a lot of promise here, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I would not go into hyping up youth players. Now, if they're young players playing at the professional level, that's different. Like using Reyna as an example, playing, 17 playing at the time, 17 playing at Dortmund, you could say, well, this kid's got a pretty high ceiling here. He's going to do something,
Right. Well, here we got a case where, it just doesn't seem to be working out. I'm not if you're stuck at Ingolstadt, which has been a team that's just going the wrong direction now for several seasons. And then we got Santiago Castaneda, 18-year-old at Duisburg in that league. I'm trying to think of some others. Oh, Jojo Richardson, a 21-year-old at Sandhausen. We've got a 18-year-old named Mansour Oro Tagba, center forward. Last year with the youth team at 1860 Munich, he played 16 games, had 8 goals and 6 assists. I don't know. Maybe something to keep an eye on. He's young, and he's playing for a 3 Liga team. He plays really well. He could be bought by a 2 Liga team next season. Isaiah Young, he's 25, playing for Rot-Weiss Essen. It's time to give up on him. And that's about it. I mean, there's some other names here. I'm not going to mention Andre Wooten. I mean, he's 33 years old. He's pretty much finished. So, all right. Well, that's about it for the night. So that make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. I mean, I'm just shocked the show's over before 2 hours is up.
Well, I mean, that's splitting hairs. We're talking about literally like 2 minutes here.
I know.
I can't believe this was a 2-hour show.
Thanks to all of you who showed up tonight. It's been a blast. It's been fun. It's gone by quickly. We'll be back next Monday. I'll have better headphones, number one. And that's about all I got tonight. I'm not going to say anything about your stepsister. I think you're working that out as you go along at this point. You're building that relationship. You're getting to know her. You're not going, jumping straight to the clitoris or anything like that. And that's probably good. You want to get to know her because she's family in a sense, right? Okay.
Wait, not get around that bush, Derek.
Let's keep it clean here at the end. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, we'll see you next time.
But she's a trap. She's an unsung novel. Turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line. Or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch.